So I was sitting in my stand. It was a time when there wasn't a whole lot of deer around, but there was enough to where I would see 3 or 4 deer every time I went. Well, this one particular time, I went hunting, and I was seeing deer everywhere, and I thought, man, I've done found a good spot. As it was getting close to dark, I saw a doe coming way off in a swamp. I was hunting in a swamp, and there was a 10-point behind her. And I got so nervous that I shot too soon. I should have waited till he turned sideways, and I didn't. And I shot when he was facing me, and I hit him in his right shoulder, and he got away. And I went hunting there a few days later, and I saw him, and he was limping, and I couldn't get a shot at him. I said, I'm not gonna mess up this time. I took my time, and I couldn't get a shot. He went behind a pile of trees. I never saw him again. That was the story of the deer that got away that pretty much hooked me on hunting for the rest of my life. And it's getting close to deer season now, and people wonder, or might wonder, why do people hunt? Why would you want to hunt deer? Well, for one thing, for me, it's the memories of childhood, getting together with family and friends, and going hunting. That was one of the great times of my life, was hunting. And for most people, and a lot of people, that's what hunting is. And I think it's kind of sad to see in today's time that kids don't seem to want to hunt as much as they used to. But hunting does a lot of good. It does good for nature. I mean, where I live, there's deer everywhere. There's too many deer. And there needs to be some sort of population control because there's way too many deer, and they start to get diseases. And so it does good for nature. I know some people don't like hunters. They don't like people hunting because they don't understand that hunters are the greatest conservationists that there is. I mean, there wouldn't be any deer where I live if it wasn't for hunters and the wildlife places bringing them in so that people can hunt. And so the Bible says it's our job to take care of the earth. That's what he told Adam, to take care of it. And one way you take care of it is through hunting. If it wasn't for hunters, many of the species would be gone because they wouldn't have the money to fund the projects that get those species going, whether it be the elk or the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Hunters are one of the biggest conservationists. Secondly, it's a good source of good quality natural meat. I mean, any homesteader would know that some of the best meat they have is going to be some of that deer meat or elk or whatever type of animal you're harvesting. That's going to be some of the best meat that you have. It's pure. It's not. There's no chemicals in it. You know that, like the chicken that we buy today. It's natural meat. And so you're going to get some healthy, natural protein from that animal. You know, we talk a lot about sustainability. Well, having that natural food source is sustainable. It's something that's going to be there. I mean, I could go out, it's not needed, so I don't do it, but I could go out and harvest an animal to eat every single day. Now, I don't do that, but I could. So I could completely live off the animals harvested. And of course, if you harvest something like a deer, you wouldn't need one every day. It's a sustainable food source. Another thing is just a connection, being outside. A lot of the kids today, they stay on their phones or they're inside, they're playing the video games. Hunting gets you outside, gets you doing something, gets you out in nature, gets you out in the sun. It gets you doing things in nature that God created for us to enjoy. So hunting, gets you out in it, helps you explore the world and see things you hadn't seen before. I've been on our property for my whole life, but I still see things that's neat to me. Whether it be a tree that's grown bigger that I've watched grow over time, or just a funny looking tree that may have a fork in it. It's things that you see in nature that you wouldn't see sitting in front of a TV. And when you're hunting, you're building a skill. I mean, it's a skill of survival, really, but you're building that skill of survival. When you first start hunting, you're not very good at it, but eventually you'll learn how you can slip up on a deer or walk very quietly so that the deer don't see you. That's the kind of skill that's a survival skill that you may need one day, but you get that skill from hunting. And you may not even realize that you're getting that skill, but you do. So you're building a skill. And the last reason I guess I hunt is just because it's kind of a tradition. You grew up hunting and you enjoy those times of the past when you were little, and you'd come home and have that deer or whatever, and everybody made a big deal about it. And it was just a tradition. It's just something you did. The old folks, they had to hunt to supplement their food so they could eat. And we do it primarily probably because we enjoy it, but we still love to do it. And we think about the old times whenever we do it. We think about those old men. I can think of men, because we were in a deer camp when I was younger. I can think of those old men that would tell those stories, and it's a priceless memory that you have of those old men. And many of you can probably think of old men hunting stories. Some of them probably true. Most of them probably exaggerated just a little bit, but we think of those old stories, and we think back to a time when things were slower and maybe even better. But so those are just some reasons that I enjoy hunting. But I'd like to say, for hunters, we're not savages. We're not running out there and trying to kill something. Most hunters don't even kill anything in a year. They're there for the community. They're there for hanging out with friends, hanging out with their kids. That's the main reason they hunt. But for hunters, one thing that I would say is respect the people that don't hunt. And what I mean by that is, you see people all the time, and sometimes you can't help it because it's on your four-wheeler or whatever, but they'll have the deer hanging off of the truck where everybody can see it, and that doesn't help the non-hunter to appreciate or to understand the hunter. When you got a deer who's been shot, the tongue hanging out, going down the highway, some people don't want to see that. So if you're a hunter, make sure you respect the animal. Use the animal. Don't ever hunt anything that you're not planning on eating, because that's just cruel and wasteful. So make sure that if you hunt something, that you are going to eat it. So make sure you respect that animal and use as much of it as you can, and be thankful for the opportunity to be able to hunt. In some places you can't do that, and we live in a country where you can do that. So just be appreciative. Remember the past when you hunt. Remember those old guys you used to hunt with, and be respectful to the animal, and use as much as you can of it. And teach your kids how to clean those animals and how to process those animals, because if they don't know how to clean it, they can't hunt. So you need to teach them how to treat that animal with respect, and to use every part of it that you can.